pretty tan. You got some color. And you're Irishman. You get pretty tan. You got some color. And you're not wearing a hat.
I'm actually black Irish.
Oh, careful.
Yeah.
Careful. This is on the internet. This can look
No, I'm black Irish. It's a thing.
What is that?
It is, well, when the Moors came in, what happened was the North Africans came in around the west of Ireland, and that my family is originally from the west, from Galway, and they interfered with our sheep, and you end up with people like me that actually, I don't have dark skin, but I tan for an Irish.
How you say this last name?
Well, long.
What kind of name is that?
It's Italian.
Oh, I see. That's why you driving him around. You half a nigger yourself.
Sicilians have black blood pumping through their hearts. And no, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you see, the Moors conquered Sicily. And the Moors are niggers. See, way back then, Sicilians were like wops from northern Italy. They all had blonde hair and blue eyes. But, well, then the Moors moved in there and, well, they changed the whole country. They did so much fucking with Sicilian women, that they changed the whole bloodline forever. That's why blonde hair and blue eyes became black hair and dark skin. You know, it's absolutely amazing to me to think that to this day, hundreds of years later, that Sicilians still carry that nigger gene. Now, this is, I'm quoting history. It's written. It's a fact. It's written.
I don't do that.
Your ancestors are niggers.
Irishman, you.
All right, Shalom. First of all, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushua, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and the few sisters out there. Unto his like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. And this is clearly shows you that this thing of ours is not just the outer appearance, which a lot of our people do fall into that category. Oh, if your mama and your daddy's black, you're black, or they fall into that category because they don't have no knowledge. It goes beyond just black and white. It's the bloodline. It's always in the world before this black and white thing that got heightened throughout the years, and that became a thing because of Esau. And Esau, the way he categorized everything, and he, by this pure prejudice, and try to make himself to be superior when he's inferior. That prior to that, it was about your bloodline. It's always been about bloodline. All right? Your family, where they from, and so forth. And because things of this nature, like they say, then this movie right here is from True Romance, was directed by Quentin Tarantino. Hey, if you know Tarantino, he liked to express a lot of things in his films, especially dialogue. He's like one of those dialogue directors. He's about scenery, dialogue, and he takes violence to extreme level. So, but his whole thing is the interaction between characters and whatever he feels or however he wants to put something in a film. Because when I actually watched this, the bishops and the elders have been talked about this years ago. So when I watched this, the whole movie, and I was like, this is the same movie? Like, why did he say that? Because that scene right there, it was just basically, not to spoil the movie, it had nothing to do with that character. But he was in the room with Sicilians, Italians, so forth, and he just felt to say that, to drop those nuggets in there, and they laughing and everything like that, but they was really upset because he was telling the truth. So I guess he went out like, well, if I'm gonna go all out, I'm gonna go all out. But that really wasn't just because of that. That's truth hidden in plain sight, and that goes into history. The Moors did conquer Europe, but prior to the Moors, you had quote unquote black Christians that also was in Europe. Okay, and we're Israelites. this the so-called black man, he's an Israelite, especially the so-called black man. You know how many children that he has? He's definitely gonna get him some Edomite women and so forth. He's definitely gonna spread his loins all over. But like the first guy, we'll go to that. And you heard the guy that was filming. Oh, just be careful. That he's a this dude right here is a Jake. He's a black man. It comes from your father's line, not from your mother's line. Matter of fact, Numbers 1:20. It says, "And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, by their polls, every male from 20." Oh, actually, that's not the one, but that is actually good because that proved what? That people just didn't go by the just go to war at the age of 18 or anything like that. They go to at the age of 20. Okay. Hold on. 1-6, 1-8. Black, yeah. By the pedigree of their fathers. The lock. Okay. What was it? Wait, hold on. Maybe it's 1-26. No. Lebanon. I know it's not down here. 18. Somebody. Yep. It's 1-18 right in front of my face. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to their number. So it's about the fathers. Now, when you go into the word pedigree, is Yalad. Oh boy. Literally, that's what it I believe. Yeah, Yalad is also a boy. It says to bear, bring forth, begot, gender. To bear, bring forth of children, birth, of distress. So your pedigree is by your father. So if your father is a certain, and your father's father, that's what you are. You always be of your father. In this confusing world, they'll have you mix with this, you mix. No, there's no mixtures. Yeah, you may look different, but there's no mixtures. Is you are your father. And if everybody be so caught up in the outer shell that they might not know who's who. That's why a lot of times the Lord gives us a clue of people that look like the other nations that are Israelites. They're literally Israelites. And them being Israelites, they have soul, they carry a certain type of vibration to them. So it's not about a color thing. It's not about the outer appearance. First Samuel 16:7, it says, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I refuse him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart." So, and that's what, when Samuel went to anoint Jesse's son to be king, and he thought every person that was Jesse brought up to him had the possibility to be the next king because how they looked. And the Lord was like, he rejected all of them. And Samuel was like, "Do you have? I thought you told me these are all your sons." And he said, he has one son that's out in the sheep. And when he saw him, we're like, "Wait a minute, and this is the Lord's anointed," you know, because he didn't look the part, but his spirit, he was made to be the king forever, you know. So it wasn't about the outer appearance; it was about the inward. And to this day, that's how the Lord does it. It's a mystery. This is why when you read the book of Acts, Acts 1 and was it 1? Oh, 2 and 1, it says, Slack, yeah. I just want to get to the point. This is the one. I'm just looking for a particular thing. But because what Peter quoted was Habakkuk 1 and this is Joel. He's quoting right here. Let me read that real quick. I'm sorry, 18. It says 2 and 18. "And unto my servants and my handmaids." Matter of fact, I started 15. "But these are not drunken as ye suppose. It is but the third hour on the day." Why? Because they received the Holy Spirit and they spoke every language of all the Israelites that were there. And matter of fact, see, this is why I didn't want to do it. I'm gonna jump down. I'm gonna jump up and down. Acts 2 and 4, it says, "And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven." So a lot of Christians would, they'll bypass this part, not understanding the atmosphere. This is Pentecost. Pentecost is the 50th day after the Passover, which is a holy day. 3 times a year, all males must go back to Jerusalem. So heathens were not going to Jerusalem. This was not there. This wasn't a heathen thing where they just go to Jerusalem just cause. No, this is where all Israel came. This is what says devout, which you go into it, Eubulus, taking hold well, carefully, surely, cautiously, reverencing the Most High, pious, religious. Taken well, carefully, that is circumspect, religious, pious, devout. So men of Israel that were scattered abroad, that lived in other nations, came back to Israel for one of the holy holiday, one of the high holy days. All right. It said, "Now when this was noise abroad, multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language, because they grew up in these other different lands. So they spoke the language of the places that they were. So when they saw the disciples of Yahushua, of the Mashiach, and they spoke the way they speak, they was shocked. I thought they were drunk. Like, and that's where you get that from. So I'm gonna just jump down because I want to get to the point. It says, verse 16 now, but this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel, and it shall come to pass in the last days, saith the Most High, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. That's Joel the second chapter, about like the 28th verse. And on my servants and on my handmaids, and I will pour out in those days the spirit of my in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy, and I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in earth, and beneath blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall turn into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and noble day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that wheresoever or whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved, which is what is the name of the Lord, Yahushua. All right, ye men of Israel, these words, Yahushua of Nazareth, man proved the Most High among you by the miracles and wonders and signs which the Most High did by him in the midst of you, as you yourselves also know. Him being delivered by determinate counsel and the foreknowledge of the Most High, you have taken, and by wicked hands have you crucified and slain him. It says, I gotta keep going. I'm just trying to get to the point. The lock, yeah. There it is. Jeez. No, I'm sorry. That's not it either. I'm gonna get to the point. I wanted to that version, but I believe it's Haggai 1:6. It says, I'm sorry, it's not 6. It's 5. No, it's Habakkuk bugging. Habakkuk 1. 5. It says, behold, you among the heathen, and regard and wonder marvelously. I will work a work in your days which you have not believed, though it be told you. Now now I'm gonna go to here. It should tell me Acts. Is it Acts 13? No, I thought it was the beginning. Let me see. Oh, what is this slack here? It was Acts 13th chapter. And this is Stephen. It said, behold, ye that despise and wonder and perish, for I will work a work in your days, a work which ye shall in no wise believe, though a man declared it unto you. And what is that work? That work was the Israelite foreigners. They were coming back. All right. Because automatically, if even though you look like us, but you spoke, you was more inclined to the other nations' ways, you was not considered to be a people in the sight of the people. So the Lord really had to do a number on everybody so that you could start afresh. That's why this thing of ours is not skin deep, it's spiritual deep. You got to see what's in the spirit of a man to realize. And even in our side, you have a lot of dark skinned individuals that may look like us, but their spirit is off because they're not of us. So the Lord did a number, and only Yahweh Bashem Yahushai know who's who. So that miracle, that work of works is here and now. First Peter's 1:1, it says, Peter, an apostle of Yahushua Mashiach, to the strangers scattered abroad, or scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of the Most High, the Father, though through sanctification of the Spirit. Let me look up the word sanctification. Hagamonious, or consecration, purification, the effect of consecration, sanctification, sanctification of heart and life. So Peter, all the apostles, all right, they were dealing with Israelites that was in these different regions that actually may have looked, and some may look like the heathens for all we know. All right, it was about the spirit. If they accepted it, it wasn't about letting anybody in. It says unto the obedience. Look at that. Yes, Israel was not obedient. However, not all the Israelites that were disobedient. And you can't be obedient to something or someone without being taught. So if the nations never got the law, statutes, and commandments, how can they be obedient to the law, statutes, to the Lord? Right? This is obedience, complaisance, submission, under 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 mission, right? Was under the covenant. Obedience rendered to anyone counsel, and obedience shown in observation requirements of Christianity. And it says, unto obedience and sprinkling of the blood of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, grace unto you and peace be multiplied. So that letterhead right there towards the Israelites that were scattered abroad, that says that was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. He basically saying you was elected and you from that family. All right. James 1:1. It says, James, a servant of Yahweh and the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, to the 12 tribes scattered, which are scattered abroad, greeting. Because the nation, Israel was scattered. All right. And once again, Israel's not going to all look the same. It's not about looking the same, or it's about all Israel coming back to the Lord. All right. And they're going to come as looking like the other nations. So the whole campaign of those bumbling idiots saying, "Oh, the Gentiles could be saved now," and all this other shit, that's just pure nonsense and confusion. This is right back to how Christianity had it. And I'm talking about the deacon and all that. He just doing shit. He just trying to pick a fight, trying to make himself known, get his last 15 minutes of fame. Because we go through this over and over again, which is nothing wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, it's for the edification of the people of Israel. All right. That's all it is. And we know the history. We know the history of our people. We know what's going to happen. That's why it says in Revelations in Second Ezra, the second chapter, no, 13th chapter about the people, all right? How it's confusing because they look like the other people. Just like in this video, he looked just that dude. Just,
Honestly, Irishman, you get pretty tan. You got some color, and you're not
Well,
wearing a hat.
and there's a lot of Irishmen, Italians, people from Scotland, England. You know, I believe they said I don't know how true it is, but what was this guy's name? Kind of a point. He was part of that in channel PBS. Henry Gates, something like that. And he was part of this thing called, and it was looking up the DNAs of certain celebrities, and one of the main people um that he looked up was Oprah, and her family line went back to England. And she automatically, everybody think automatically, oh, that's Europeans, and Europeans they were white. No, 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 no. There were plenty of dark skinned people that ruled Europe. And this man's he's an offspring of men that came and that was in Europe of dark skin. All right. So he is of that royal oak, so to speak. And look how he looks. The nose, everything. The hair. And he's telling straight up, like, nah, I'm a black Irish. And he tells you the history. He's not ashamed of it. He's not. Matter of fact, he's seemingly proud of his history. So this thing of ours is beyond skin deep. You know, is a very important something. That's why when that clown, the deacon, and he's using that CIA buzzword of uh, um, black Hebrew Israelites. No, we're Hebrew Israelites. Come in all shapes, sizes. And it's about the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. It's about the coming from the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why it's called the forefathers. You come from that royal elk, so to speak. All right. So that being said, what's up? Real quick to the spirit. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.